welcome to the Peacock Knits Outdoor Edition. My name is Heather, coming to you from Ottawa, Ontario. If you are a new viewer, then welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, then welcome back. This is my first time using my phone to record my podcast, so the video quality might be better, but I'm used to recording on my laptop, so we'll just see how this goes. One thing I will mention right off the bat is that I'm not sure what happened, but I've lost the hearing in my right ear, and it's actually causing me quite a little bit of discomfort when I'm speaking. I can't quite understand what I'm saying. Like, I'm having difficulty hearing how things are supposed to sound, and it is throwing me way off because I can hear my voice in my right ear really loudly, and then everything else I'm hearing through my left ear. So if I sound a little wonky today, just know that it's because I was distracted, but I'm really looking forward to podcasting today, so I'm gonna just soldier on and hopefully this isn't too much for you. It is so nice here today. We're expecting a few more days of rain, but today it was in the mid-20s, 25 degrees Celsius. It was just a beautiful day. The blossoms on the trees were just stunning. Everything smells so nice. You walk down the paths and all these petals are falling. Behind me I have some lilacs that grow in my backyard. Which is kind of ironic because as a youth we had a lot of lilacs growing around our house, and I swore up and down I didn't like them, and my mother used to bring them in the home and the whole house would smell like lilacs, and I think I was just being stubborn in saying that I didn't like the smell. But now that I'm older, I really miss that, and so now I'm the one going around to all my neighbors asking if I can steal a clipping from their lilac tree or from the public paths. I'm just going around with my snippers and just kind of stealing little bits here and there. Because it's evening, I'm changing up my beverage routine. I've chosen a very healthy choice. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that for Mother's Day my husband spoiled me with a couple of boxes of Pineapple Crush, which is a beverage that you cannot get here in Ontario, or at least it's very elusive. Out east in Newfoundland and Labrador you can get it, and usually when I'm down there visiting my husband's family, which it really feels like home in Newfoundland and Labrador, I would live there in a heartbeat, but it's very easy to acquire over there. So usually when we visit, I stop at the little shop in the airport and I fill my carry-on luggage with Pineapple Crush and Nacho Crunchits, which are kind of like cheesies but nacho flavored. So anyway, so that's my drink. It's a very healthy shade of yellow. It's a little it doesn't look like something you should put in your body, but I'm doing it. You know, it's 8 p.m. here. Might as well just go crazy. So this will be a fairly short episode. Part of the reason why I've been gone so long is that, well, in general, I don't like to podcast unless I have some stuff to show you. And I've been fairly monogamous. I've been so proud of myself for not casting on a whole bunch of new projects. The things that I'm knitting, I am loving, and I have enough active projects that I feel that I could pick up anything, and I just enjoy it so much. But the progress has been slow going because I'm splitting my time between 2 different sweaters, so it's really just a few centimeters here, an inch there. And then I did finally cast on my second Kaluna sock, but I've only got part of the cuff done, so it's not really remotely interesting to show you. But I will show you the progress on my Mount Pleasant, which is coming along, and it looks so amazing. I'm going to show you an old whip that I am going to pull out again. It's a pair of socks. I'm going to frog one of them and start over again. So I'll get into that. Plus, I've got a fair bit of acquisitions, mostly because I attended the Toronto Knitters Frolic, and it was such a great time. And I'm not going to go into too much detail because my phone died right as we were getting in, so I wasn't able to take any footage, any photos, and so as a result, it really wouldn't be an exciting update. But I will tell you that if you check out, oh my gosh, what is the name of the podcast? I will tell you in 2 seconds. I'll put it down below. My brain is completely blanking. But if you check out her podcast, she has a nice little walkthrough of her experience there, some highlights, some really neat products, and to be honest, I couldn't do any better myself. So I'm going to send you down there. By the Lakeside. Down by the Lakeside? Oh my gosh, this brain of mine is not working. I think I need some more sugar. And also, honestly, if this ear would start working, I would be so happy. Anyway. Also, this is my first time outside. We back into a quiet street. If the noise is too much, I won't record out here again. But I thought I'd give it a try. Oh yeah, okay, so my Mount Pleasant. I'm keeping it in my Madder Root trundle. This is the deluxe trundle, which I've showed off before, and I just love it. It's the only trundle she offers with a strap, and it makes it so portable, and it really makes this beautiful bag. And you can just roll it down, so it keeps all of your knitting inside. And I brought this with me. We rented a cottage with 4 other couples, and we brought our kids, and our friends brought their daughter, who's around the same age, and they just got along like 2 peas in a pod, my 5-year-old and her. So we just had a wonderful time at this cottage. We had an evening playing board games, so I got quite a bit of progress done on my Mount Pleasant. So the last time I showed you, I had a few inches done, but then I made a horrid mistake and realized somehow my stitch count was off. I'm not sure where I made the mistake because I know I cast on the right number of stitches, and I know that at the end of the lace at the bottom, I know that at the end of that section I either had the right stitch count or my chart was working out just fine. And then I don't think I did more increases than needed because because I was just paying attention, and I was counting, and I put a stitch marker for each one. I mean, mistakes happen, but also the row count didn't add up. So all this to say, I had too many stitches, and I would have potentially left it, but it was 12 stitches too many, which worked out to being about 2 inches, and this sweater already has quite a bit of positive ease in it. So 2 extra inches, not only was I not going to be happy with the fit, I also knew that I would be, I might run out of yarn because I'm really close to the edge on my yardage. So anyway, here it is. I finished the front. Let's see now, this is all tangled. Let's see how nice I can get this. I probably should have put it on a really long needle to show you. So I did the front all the way up to the neckline. That's so nice looking. I love the color pooling. So this is up to the shoulder here. So there's the neckline here. It goes like that. This angle's not working, so hopefully I'm not just like pointing the camera up my nose this whole episode. Nobody needs to see that. So there you go. That's the front. Looking really nice. And then I'm most of the way done the back. I just have a couple of inches left here. You'll see the color pooling continues, and it starts to change up at the top a little bit. So I had not alternated skeins, and you can kind of see where it changed. But I still like it the way it is, and it is not as apparent on the front simply because of where the neckline goes. And honestly, I'm just the one wearing it, but this would be a time where I would say that I should have alternated skeins. It pains me to say that I should have done that the whole time, especially since towards the end of my ball of yarn, towards the end of my second skein, it starts getting a little bit lighter. So I'm alternating now. Oops. I'm alternating now because my first ball is quite a bit brighter than the other skein here. See? Which is to be expected with hand painted. but I really should have alternated skeins. So, lesson learned. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I'm still very, very, very pleased with the way it looks. And I was also nervous that I wouldn't like this color for an all-over garment, but I really like it. I think it's gonna look so nice with like a chambray dress, right? I'm also very sad because I left my knitting out, and usually the dogs don't get into it, but this time Apollo found it while I had left it lying around, and he chomped one of my Luca needles, size 5 US. Why? I should have learned my lesson, because he did that one other time to one of my needles, and it was very foolish, and I should have put it away. Lately I've been keeping my yarn and my knitting on my couch, and he hasn't been touching it, but this time he did. So I do have a pair of the knit picks. I don't even know if they make these anymore. I can't remember what they're called, but they're like the clear acrylic. So there's my Luca needle, my remaining size 5 US, and there is my knit picks one, which isn't nearly as nice, and I don't nearly enjoy knitting with this as much. But anyway, you live and you learn, or in my case, you continue to leave your knitting out where the dog can get it and continue to have your higher end needles get crunched. So I I've only got a couple more inches left, and then I basically split for the neckline. Then it's almost done. And then you just do the little tiny cap sleeves, and then it's done. So the next time I podcast, I'll be able to wear it. I am focusing on this one right now. I really want it to be finished because I want to wear it so badly now that the nice weather is here. So that is my current work in progress. I've also been, now that I'm alternating skeins, I have my project in that bag, but I am using one of Crochet One Knit Two's little yarn baskets to hold the other ball when I'm not using it, because I can snap it closed so it doesn't get tangled, and then it just sits open as a little basket. And I love the inside. It matches my Mount Pleasant, which is so fun. So fun to have. Okay, this is the other work in progress that I have to share with you. I got this as a gift, this yarn as a gift, from my friend Nitty McNitterson, who she and I were matched up as one of the Grocery Girls swaps that they had last year. It was just a little swap. It wasn't anything like Fiber Share, which I have signed up for, by the way. I am so excited. Fiber Share Spring Edition. I usually do the fall one right before Christmas. But this year I am definitely going to Rhinebeck unless something major happens, such as I don't get approved from work to go, or something happens. But my mother and my sister and I are all going to Rhinebeck this year. But anyway, we did this swap, and she was so generous. I think I came out with the better end of the deal, but I will show it to you. So this is Scrumptious Purl. Oh darn, what is the colorway? I have it written down. I'll put it in my show notes, but look. This is exactly how the color looks in my hand. It has like spring green and turquoise and browns and beige, and when it is knit up, it is simply to die for. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna show you this sock. I came prepared, but then I forgot about this sock for some reason, but I found some sock blockers, some vintage sock blockers on Kijiji. I know it makes it sound like I'm on Kijiji a lot, but I'm really not on Kijiji all that often. I just have a couple of alerts set up for knitting related things, and when they come up, I check it out, and sometimes I get a pretty good score. So I'm sorry I wasn't prepared here, but I got these sock blockers, these vintage old sock blockers, and I got a kick out of the ad because it said, hey, these are for, you know, a time when people used to hand knit their socks. And then I laughed because obviously I do knit my socks now. But aren't these the funniest sock blockers you ever saw? They just keep going and going. Aren't they funny? I mean, I guess if you were knitting a pant leg, you could use it. Isn't it too funny? Isn't it too funny? I love them. There's a little bit of wear and tear, a little bit of kind of water spots. This one has a bit of a crack in it. I should probably check because it says 9.5 there, but I'm not sure if this is really like a 9.5. It doesn't seem right. But anyway, so this is the sock I made. These are my Rose City rollers, and I made a mistake because it's pretty common that I do a 64 stitch sock, especially if the pattern is between like a 56 and 64, I'll pick the 64. But in this case, I picked 64 on a pair of 2.5 millimeter needles, which are a little bit bigger. And Scrumptious Purl is some of the most luxurious yarn that I've had the pleasure of knitting with. I almost wish that I had more of it. I don't say almost wish. I almost wish that's all I could knit with right now because that's so soft. But it's a very plump sock yarn. So 64 stitches plus a larger knitting needle size at 2.5 millimeter, plus a plump yarn caused this sock to be much larger than my foot. And I was going to keep it anyways and wear it, you know, like a pair of slippers over another pair of socks. But the thing is, they're shorties, so I would love to wear them in the summer. I also think that if on a tighter needle on a smaller needle with less stitches, I might have wider stripes, which would be great. Isn't it nice? Look at the striping. I love that the green and the blue are wider stripes, and then the brown and the beige are thinner stripes. And I love the way it looks on the heel. So I love the pattern for Rose City rollers, and they come out so fast, but this sock is just entirely too big for my foot. It's got a ton of space. Like you know, I've got narrow feet, so I don't really need that much space. But I love the way this sock turned out. So I am breaking this bad boy out. It was a hoe. It was a half object. And a whip. Now it's really a whip because I'm going to be taking this sock apart. So I'm going to take it apart. Or I'll knit the second sock first, either way. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. That's one of my socks. And I'll keep working on my Kaluna sock as well. But my Kaluna sock, I love the pattern, but it is not, it's not really great for TV watching and social knitting. It's got too much going on with the cable, and I just don't feel super sociable when I'm knitting it, so I really just want a pair of straightforward Rose City rollers for that. So anyways, those are my hilarious sock blockers. Those are my only works in progress. In addition to those sock blockers, here's another couple of pairs. I was really thrilled. They were only $10 each, first of all, so I didn't really break the bank. They had a large pair for men, or for women, I guess, but they're really big. Like, my husband wears a size 13.5 shoe, so his socks are really enormous. These ones are an older pair that I did. They are Turtlepurl in one of her Star Trek colorways. I bought the Star Trek trio, and I think this one is called Live Long and Prosper. So these are the Spock socks. And for the pattern, I believe I used the Vanilla Latte pattern, which is one of my favorites for straightforward socks, especially for having something with a bit of ribbing. I find it, I'm not a big fan of vanilla knitting, vanilla socks. I just get really bored. But the Vanilla Latte socks just give you a little bit of interest, and they usually fit a little more snugly, and I love that. And then I believe for the heels and toes, I used Knit Picks Stroll Tweed, which has felted a little bit compared to the Turtlepurl cuffs, heels and toes. But I made these quite a while ago and they're really holding up, and he is not gentle on his socks. So yeah, that was another pair of sock blockers that look like this. So they have little holes. These ones were barely used, so there's hardly any wear and tear on them apart from just like some basement like paint. And then here's the other pair. These are a little bit more dainty. These ones are on my, I want to call them Seagull socks. Again, I'll put it in the show notes. But there you go. And I knit these, so I altered the pattern ever so slightly for these because the stitch pattern for the Seagulls, I really liked it. This was my first time using 9-inch circulars, and I realized I'd be okay using 9-inch circulars as long as it wasn't a busy pattern. I think if I was just doing vanilla socks, a 9-inch circular would be fine. It just took a little bit of retraining my hands on how to knit, because that muscle memory is so ingrained. And I don't usually pick, I'm a thrower, so I find you really need to pick when you're using a 9-inch circular. Anyway, all this to say, I got really tired of making the Seagulls because I found it really hard on my hands. Plus I just kind of wanted to wear them, so what I did was I switched to a vanilla foot, so I kind of tapered, sorry, the mosquitoes are coming out. I tapered the Seagulls so that they would stop kind of in a point, and then the rest of the sock is vanilla. Yeah. And my own hand dyed is the heels, toes, and cuffs, and it has a really neat kind of checker slip stitch heel. And then the main yarn I used here is Sinister yarns in Trashbag Princess, which she gifted to me through the Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted a couple of years ago. It was super generous of her, and these are one of my favorite socks, and I always put these ones on sock blockers. Yeah. So anyway, I'm almost done. There's just a couple of other little things that I thought you'd get a kick out of seeing. One of the things that I got at the oh yeah, where'd it go? Hold on. Sorry about that. I had put this inside by accident. When I was at the Toronto Knitters Frolic, I went with 2 specific projects in mind, and I came out with exactly what I was looking for. No more, no less. Very proud of myself, but it did involve some splurges. Numero uno, first of which is I have been wanting a skein of Yushitita, if that is how you say it. I have just been eyeing this so much on Instagram, so they had some, and I treated myself. So this is a potluck skein. It is kind of mint, and it has speckles of like a goldish rusty color, as well as hints of purple, which are in here too. Blue, and in with the rust is kind of well, it's like a mint color, but it's got varying shades of mint in there. Anyway, I bought this specifically for the Rochambeau Cowlette, which is kind of like a bandana style shawl. It's a single skein project, and I love it because it's really just like a giant triangle with some beautiful lace work and I think some cabling, and at the back of your neck there's just really attached to the corners. Very little bulk at the back, so you're able to get this kind of drapey, warm, snuggly looking shawlette out of a single skein. So I thought this would be perfect because I wanted something that was not too busy, something that was mostly a solid with just like a hint of something special, and that was this one. So I am really excited. Isn't it so nice? I just can't wait to get this on the needles. The other thing I wanted was I'm going to be making the Biston shrug. So once one of my sweaters is done, that's my next cast on for a sweater. The picture of it shows it in like a charcoal color, and I was going to knit it in something a little wacky like a blue or like a bright. But the thing is, I plan to wear it a lot with my dresses, and I thought a charcoal color would be better, because that's the color that I would use or wear fairly often with the dresses that I have in my wardrobe. I tend to go for really loud prints, really whimsical prints, and so my cardigans and sweaters tend to be much more on the kind of muted side, and you can't beat a good charcoal. So I picked up one of my favorites, which is Lichen and Lace, and I picked it up in her Soot colorway. Soot is like, it's coming up pretty true to color here. It's a charcoal, but it has a very nice tonal quality, and it has these kind of very subtle hints of what I can only describe as kind of a green. It's very subtle. It probably isn't even coming up okay on here, but it's like a green color, just a hint of it, just enough to make it kind of special. I wanted a charcoal or a gray with something special. Anyways, so I bought 4 skeins of it because I needed 1,100 yards, and this will give me more than enough. So you can probably guess that I will be alternating skeins for this project, because for a 4 skein project I do not want any issues with it. So that is the bulk of my haul from the Toronto Knitters Frolic, and I picked up some vintage knitting magazines, which are one of my favorite things. I mostly got a kick out of this one, which is Designs by Beehive for Restful Living. It shows a very relaxed lady on the front with her baby. I know that when I think about taking care of my baby, that I think of it as restful living. And that's not to make light of people who do find parenting to be restful. This lady looks like she's really restful. Ah, she says, "I'm ready for bed." Then you've got these fine ladies. They're just lounging. They're just enjoying a book and their knitted cardigans. Like, that's something I'd wear to work. Really restful. Anyways, I just got a kick out of this book. What else did I see in here? I don't know. Vintage magazines just kill me. I think they're so funny. I love the pictures. I especially like the fact that there's a whole section of it in miniature, so you can match your clothing to your baby. Have a mini me. Hilarious. Every single pattern in the book they have replicated in a small baby version, which I think is pretty cool. So anyways, that was pretty fun. The other funny project I found in here was this guy. So this guy's hanging out in bed with a book, and this pattern is called Under Easy Sail, because at the back of the sweater it is missing a portion of the back. I guess it's so you don't have a whole bunch of sweater like bunched up behind you when you're in bed relaxing, but I have never heard of a sweater like that. Have you? Don't know. The other one I really liked was, let's see, Hand Knits for Moderns. I didn't know moderns was a term, but I will say I actually really want like every single article of clothing in here. And this isn't a newer magazine. As usual, I can't find the date on it. So it's really hard to say. I'd like to say it's the 60s or 70s, but it is tray cool. Like, I actually would love to wear this sweater. I'd probably make a modification to the collar, but I would totally wear that sweater. There's a simple cardigan, boat neck. I love this style. I would totally wear this today. In fact, I want to make this like a cast on soon. It's called Sweet and Sassy. I know I would feel sweet and sassy wearing that sweater. I mean, it has a boat neck. Ooh, this one's leopard print, or in the name, it's called smoke rings. Very dramatic. Of course, out of all the pages in this magazine, she is not even smoking. Some beautiful hats. Some beautiful dog sweaters. Speaking of dogs, Sparta is making a bed right now on my knitting. So anyways, those were some highlights from my vintage knitting magazines. I guess the last thing I'll show you is something I picked up. I'd seen it on a few podcasts and on Instagram, and I fell in love with them. And I really have to just give a huge shout out regarding this maker. Her name is Nastia Sliptsova from the Ukraine. And I can't remember who, there were a couple of people who had purchased these, and I just fell in love with them. But she makes these little pins shaped like houses. They're called the Little House Brooch. She has a whole selection of them. The packaging, if you go back to my Instagram, you'll see kind of some pictures of the packaging. But it is too adorable. Each box has a picture of the pin for artwork. And then when you open it up, it is the sweetest packaging. There's a little dried flower on the inside, and then here is the pin. See? It's kind of hard. It's going to get some glare now. But this one's white with a red roof. They're just these little brooches. So I bought that one for my mother for Mother's Day. They own a cottage with a red roof, and I just had to get it. And then one of these is going to be for me, and one of these is going to be a gift for someone, and I'm just not sure which one I'm keeping because I love them both so much, and I just can't decide. But there's this one, kind of like a simple black and white little cottage. See, the mosquitoes are really coming out. And ignore my manicure, which needs to be redone. And then this one, which is kind of like a little log cabin. Anyways, if you go to my Instagram, you'll see some better pictures. But they're just these kind of enamel, I think they're enamel pins. Or they were done with some kind of resin. But man, are they ever pretty and so well made. And I just love everything about the packaging. In these little boxes with all the little grass, and the card is delightful that it comes on. A little Nastia Sliptsova on there. And then, like, as if the package couldn't be any more pretty, she also sent some cards, which I believe are also her own artwork. This one says, "Wonderful day." It's got all these little houses, for all those little houses. Beautiful day. This little blank cards that you can give to someone. This one says, "Enjoy the silence." Reminds me of something like out of Goodnight Moon. And then this one says, "With love." And aren't they just sweet little cards? And what a nice bonus, because I didn't buy them or add them to the cart. They were just included as a little addition. I thought that was so sweet. So yeah. Oh yeah, and I bought her some West Yorkshire Spinners sock yarn for Mother's Day. She's worth it. So anyways, the sun is setting. I have pretty much met my half-an-hour mark, and I don't really want to go over, especially since I didn't have a whole lot of knitting to show you. So that's it. That is all my knitting, all my adventures for today. I'm gonna drink my pop now, late into the evening, very sugary choice. And that is it The rest of my night I will be spending doing a little bit of editing to try to get this up soon. And reading the new issue of Pom Pom magazine that just came in the mail. I'm not big on stripes, usually, as in like I'm not really big on two-tone garter stitch. As nice as it looks, I don't really love doing it, so I was a little disappointed to see that this issue is all about stripes and a lot of two-tone garter. And then the more I am looking at the pictures, the more I want to knit all the projects, and it is killing me how beautiful some of these projects are in here. And I'm not going to show off too much for the people who have not yet received this magazine and do not want to check out the spoilers on the Pom Pom site or on their Instagram. But I will say there are just some absolutely stunning pieces, and as usual, the photography and the writing is amazing. So that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm doing some reading, doing some knitting, doing some editing, maybe some laundry. The end. So, cheers, and I'll see you next time.